dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream.
Pick a city, any city in these United States. No, scratch that. Throughout the whole world, whose news of the day isn't filled with racism, death, and sadness. It is impossible in this day and age. However, there is a man trying to do just that. He sits in his living room, watching his Sony Trinitron TV, listening to his all-news searching Panasonic radio, which sits within his Technique component stereo system. He reads 20 or so newspapers, searching for some type of answer, some glimmer of hope that would stop him from doing what he is planning. Over several days, which soon turns into weeks, we watch him scan these information sources for the clue in question. Soon it becomes apparent that he may not know what it is he is looking for. This fact does not deter him from searching for it, whatever it is. As he sits there in his one-bedroom apartment in the upper west side, his phone rings continually, almost like clockwork. Toward the beginning of his quest, the messages were as follows. 10 a.m. Mrs. Smithers, his boss at the computer firm, asking if he's coming to work today. They need him to finish designing the software for the Spectrum project. Noon. Susan Wilkerson, his lady of 1.5 years, called to ask what had happened to him last night. He really missed a happening thing at B. Smith's, and B. herself was asking about him. 4 p.m. Jamie Sperry, his boy on the job, calls to ask what the fuck is going on. Smithers is starting to get pissed. Several days later, 9:02 a.m., Smithers tells them that he better call ASAP or else. The Spectrum people are getting nervous. Is it more money? Is that it? We can talk about that too. 10:15, 12:15, Susan asked him what the hell is going on? Did I do something wrong? Was it that I called you lazy for not being happy on your job? I'm kind of sorry about that. 12:23 p.m. Jamie, look man, I don't know what's going on, but you're making yourself look bad in front of Smithers. I'm trying to cover for you. By the way, where are your notes on the Spectrum project? Just curious. Hang in there, buddy. Still, several days later, 10:15 a.m. Boss, Sperry told me that you used to have a drug problem. It wasn't crack, was it? In fact, he went on to say that was the reason you were fired from your last job. Is that true, Williams? Oh, by the way, he's taken over the Spectrum account for you. He's a good man. I'm glad you recommended him for the job. At least you did something right. This is the last message I'm going to leave you, Williams. Click. 1:15 p.m. Jamie, look, man, I didn't know I was going to get that account. It just happened. Oh yeah, that drug thing, well, it just slipped out. Sorry about that, pal. You know us brothers, we gotta stick together. Oh, by the way, where are your notes on the financial analysis concerning the fourth quarter profits for that account? Call me. 4:15 p.m. Susan, look, motherfucker, I'm tired of covering for your ass. Oh, and I find a new man, and he's rich too. Paul doesn't pay attention to any of these messages. He just keeps searching. After another week of this, he does get a call from someone that he does want to talk to, his grandfather. Well, son, I'm not sure I understand what you mean, but it sounds important to you. And if it's important to you, it's important to me. Is there anything I can do to help? Sure, I'll call your mother. What else? Yeah, let me get a pen. All right, got one. And who should I say this to? The press? You sure you're all right, son? Okay, I believe you. When should I do this? 2 weeks from today? You take care of yourself. I love you too. The phone disconnects. Paul stands there, holding the phone in his hands. His eyes are squeezed shut. He appears to be praying. When he finishes, he slowly opens his eyes, allowing a lone tear to fall down his face. He takes a deep breath and recradles the phone, silencing the annoying drone of the phone off the hook sound. Slowly, very deliberately, he goes around his small apartment and shuts off his electronic news gathering system. He straightens up his home, putting all his papers in a neat pile, throwing away all the delivery food containers and washing the many dishes that have piled up over the last week. Upon finishing these tasks, he removes his soiled clothing and runs a hot, steaming shower. As the steam clouds build in the bathroom, his image in the mirror slowly disappears from view. After washing up, he reappears in his small living room, dripping wet from his shower. He walks over to the sofa where he has laid out his running gear. He slowly puts on his jockstrap and a pair of good running socks. He pulls on a pair of shorts, which are soon covered up by a pair of well-worn sweatpants. On top, he wears a t-shirt and a matching zipper-up the front lightweight jogging jacket. His armor in place, he takes a deep breath and starts to limber up. He slowly stretches every muscle in his body to the point where feels like he is ready to go. He walks out of the door, never to return again. He opens up the front door of his building, letting himself out and letting in the brisk breeze of fall. He looks around and surveys his surroundings that he has called home for the last 8 years of his life. Off to his right, he sees a homeless person cuddled in the corner of the building. Paul starts to smile as he sees several well-dressed executives approach the man without a home. One of the men holds out a $20 bill and holds it out to the old man. Tentatively, he reaches out to take it. The well-dressed man quickly pulls it away, allowing the old man's hand to close around nothing but air. You people have to learn that money is something to be earned and not to be given away. You make me ill just looking at you. You smell like shit and you look like it too, he says with disdain. The old man starts to cry in a mumbled way, which triggers a gaggle of snickers from the businessman. What a waste product, he says over his shoulder as he and his friend walk away. Paul walks over to the crying homeless man and smiles. He looks up into Paul's eyes and sees something he has never seen in someone's eyes before. The truth. Soon he starts to smile back at Paul. The two strangers shake hands warmly. Paul turns and starts to jog down the street toward the George Washington Bridge, south. We catch up with our runner 2 weeks later. By this time, he is somewhere south of Washington, D.C. His pace is strong and steady but measured. He is in no hurry. In his mind, he puts off all thoughts of hunger, even though the pang is getting stronger with each step. Out of nowhere, a television microwave truck pulls up beside him. Out of one side of the door sits a cameraman holding a D Betacam unit along with a female reporter. Standing above her is a sound man extending a fishpole with a shotgun microphone attached to the end. So tell me, Mr. Williams, why are you doing this thing? Your grandfather, Samuel Williams, I believe, called the UPI wire service and told a tale of his grandson trying to stop racism by running. Is that true? She yells out through the side entrance of the van. Before Paul can answer, another news van pulls up with a similar setup. It almost hits its rival in the side, almost spilling its contents out into the road. Tell me, Mr. Williams, how will running stop racism all over the world? By bringing attention to it? That's not a bad angle, I grant you, but it won't work. Tell me, the other reporter's sentence is cut off by the ramming of the other news van from behind. Soon each news van is jousting the other using fish poles to whack each other senseless. They drive off forgetting about Paul and his now public cause. The next week and a half are a whirlwind. Paul has become a media sensation. Time, Life, and People magazines have done covers on him. E.T. has done an in-depth, week-long series on what elements in his life could have caused him to pursue such a lofty goal. For 1 week, Paul's face is everywhere and on everything. His former boss, best friend, and girlfriend have all claimed responsibility for giving the inspiration of running against racism. A side note, Jamie and Susan used their interview on E.T. to announce their upcoming marriage that will be held at B. Smith's. People drive around looking for Paul to wish him luck and to give him food and support. Mayor Dinkins has proclaimed Paul Williams Day in New York City. All this adulation lasts exactly 1 week to the day. It stops because of the arrival of Lady Diana. This doesn't bother Paul one bit. In fact, he's relieved to be left alone. He continues to run south. Paul's travels take him to the outskirts of Georgia. He feels good today. Even those running shoes are all but falling off his feet. He is only a shadow of his former self as he runs down the road. Behind him, he hears a horn blaring. He turns to see a pickup truck flying the colors of the Confederate flag proudly. The sound of "The Devil Went Down to Georgia" blasts loudly from the cab of the truck. 5 young men hoot and holler as they close in on their prey. Each swings a bat and chain over their heads. Before Paul can dive out of the way, a Louisville slugger smacks him in the back of the head, sending him face first onto the pavement. He looks up to see the truck making a wide U-turn to head back towards him. He tries to get up, but falls back, almost passing out.
So, nigga, you want to stop racism, huh? Well, running ain't gonna do it,
says one of them, holding the bloody bat in his dirty hands.
Tell him, Jimbo. Tell him what's gonna stop racism,
yells another over the radio.
In time, Billy. Time. First, we better tell this buck what's gonna stop this so-called racism. Boys, shall we begin?
asks Jimbo as he slowly bangs the bloody tip of the bat in his free hand.
All at once they begin to beat the shit out of Paul.
Each man concentrates on a specific body part. One guy gets particular joy out of repeatedly kicking him in the balls. Blood is everywhere. Paul's screams soon cease as the beating continues. After 15 minutes of this, they stop. Breathing heavily, Jimbo says,
"Now that we showed Boy what's gonna stop racism, let me tell him what it is. One thing only is gonna stop it. Violence. That's right, Buck. Killing. Because we plan to wipe all you people out real soon."
"What about the gangs and the spics, Jimbo?" one asked.
"Them too, baby. Them too. Let's go, boys,"
says Jimbo. All the guys spit or piss on Paul's beaten body as they leave. They drive away to the sounds of the national anthem, playing from their 8-track player. Paul lays there motionless for 36 hours. On Sunday, exactly 4 weeks and 6 days into his run, he slowly starts to crawl toward the sounds of a huge megamole. When he reaches the opening, he stops, breathing heavily, exhausted from the effort. He's almost dead. Soon a mother with her child approaches this body that lies before them.
"Don't touch him, baby. He's dirty and nasty. All those people are,"
the mother says. Her child breaks away from its mother and runs over to Paul. He opens his eyes and looks at the child before him. He smiles. So does the child. As the child bends over, the mother screams bloody murder. With his last breath, Paul whispers something to the child. She smiles and nods in agreement. Paul dies. The child begins to push its way through the crowd that is gathered. Its mother yells and screams for her to come back. The child turns to look at the mom for what she believes to be the last time. Their eyes lock for just an instant before she turns to keep on running. She bumps into a small black boy. They stare at each other. With an almost slow motion-like movement, one child whispers something to the other. They both grin and turn to begin running south. And a child shall lead them.